Hello everyone, my name is Karolina and I'm a teacher. As you might already know, teachers like to read. So do I. Today I would like to share one of my favorite books called Little Women by Louise May Alcott. But before we start, I would like to ask you a question. Since this story is set around Christmas time, I invite you to spare a few moments and think about what Christmas means to you. What are the words or the images that come into your mind when thinking about Christmas? Now, if you're ready, relax, put your listening hats on, and enjoy the story. Little Women. Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents, grumbled Joe, lying on the rug. It's so dreadful to be poor, sighed Mag, looking down at her old dress. I don't think it's fair for some girls to have lots of pretty things and other girls nothing at all, added little Amy with an injured sniff. We've got father and mother and each other anyhow, said Beth contentedly from her corner. The four young faces on which the firelight shone brightened at the cheerful words, but darkened again as Joe said sadly, We haven't got father, and shall not have him for a long time. She didn't say perhaps never, but each silently added it, thinking of father far away, where the fighting was. Nobody spoke for a minute. Then Meg said in an altered tone, You know the reason Mother proposed not having any presents this Christmas was because it's going to be a hard winter for everyone. And she thinks we ought not to spend money for pleasure when our men are suffering so in the army. We can't do much, but we can make our little sacrifices and ought to do it gladly. But I'm afraid I don't. And Meg shook her head. She thought regretfully of all the pretty things she wanted. But I don't think the little we should spend would do any good. We've each got $1, and the army wouldn't be much help by our giving that. I agree not to expect anything from Mother or you, but I do want to buy Andin and Sintram for myself. I wanted it so long, said Joe, who was a bookworm. I plan to spend mine in new music, said Beth, with a little sigh, which no one heard but the hard brush and kettle holder. I shall get a nice box of favourite drawing pencils. I really need them, said Amy decidedly. Mother didn't say anything about our money, and she won't wish us to give up everything. Let's each buy what we want and have a little fun. I'm sure we grub hard enough to earn it, cried Jo, examining the heels of her boots in a gentlemanly manner. I know I do, teaching those dreadful children nearly all day when I'm longing to enjoy myself at home, began Mag, in the complaining tone again. You don't have half such a hard time as I do, said Jo. How would you like to be shut up for hours with a nervous, fussy old lady who keeps you trotting, is never satisfied, and worries you till you're ready to fly out the window or box her ears? It's naughty to fret, but I do think washing dishes and keeping things tidy is the worst work in the world. It makes me cross, and my hands get so stiff I can't practice good a bit. And Beth looked at her rough hands with a sigh that anyone could hear that time. I don't believe any of you suffer as I do, cried Amy, for you don't have to go to school with impertinent girls who plague you if you don't know your lessons, and laugh at your dresses, and label your father if he isn't rich and insult you when your nose isn't nice. If you mean libel, I'd say so, and not talk about labels as if Pa was a pickle bottle, advised Joel, laughing. I know what I mean, and you needn't to be statistical about it. It's proper to use good words and improve your vocabulary, returned Amy with dignity. Don't peck at one another, children. Don't you wish we had the money Papa lost when we were little, Joe? Dear me, how happy and good we'd be if we had no worries. So, what do you think happened? Did the four girls, Meg, Joe, Beth and Amy, save or spend their money? Now, it's time for us to find out what these four girls actually decided to do with their savings. This time, I will share only a few sentences with you in order for you to come to a conclusion. I'll tell you what we'll do, said Beth. Let's each get her something for Christmas and not get anything for ourselves. What do you think? Who are they talking about? It's time for you to find out. Listen carefully. Let Mommy think we're getting things for ourselves and then surprise her. How very sweet and thoughtful, don't you think? What about you? Do you rather give or get presents? Or maybe both? Our little women definitely found joy in giving presents to their mum. But did they get any presents themselves? Join me on their Christmas morning to find out. It's Christmas Day. Joe was the first to wake in the grey dawn of Christmas morning. No stockings hung at the fireplace, and for a moment she felt as much disappointed as she did long ago when her little sock fell down because it was so crammed with goodies. Then she remembered her mother's promise, and slipping her hand under her pillow, drew out a little crimson-covered book. She knew it very well, for it was that beautiful old story of the best life ever lived, and Joe felt that it was a true guidebook for any pilgrim going the long journey. She woke Meg with a "Merry Christmas" and bade her see what was under her pillow. A green-covered book appeared, with the same picture inside, and a few words written by their mother, which made their one present very precious in their eyes. Presently Beth and Amy woke to rummage and find their little books also, one dove-coloured, the other blue, and all sat looking at and talking about them, while the ears grew rosy with the coming day. Apart from the amazing story, this book is filled with beautiful illustrations. Here is an illustration of the four girls and, of course, their mum. How do you like it? Can you guess who is who? Beth, Joe, Meg, Amy? This might help you link the characters to the illustration. The author described how the girls looked using these particular words and phrases. Do you think their looks were somehow connected to their personalities? Is there a connection between the person's looks and personality in real life? Anyway, let's find out who is who. Margaret, the eldest of the four, was 16 and very pretty, being plump and fair with large eyes, plenty of soft brown hair, a sweet mouth, and white hands, of which she was rather vain. 15-year-old Joe was very tall, thin and brown, and reminded one of a colt, for she never seemed to know what to do with her long limbs, which were very much in her way. She had a decided mouth, a comical nose, and sharp grey eyes, which appeared to see everything, and were by turns fierce, funny, or thoughtful. Her long, thick hair was her one beauty, but it was usually bundled into a net to be out of her way. Round shoulders had Jo, big hands and feet, a fly-away look to her clothes, and the uncomfortable appearance of a girl who was rapidly shooting up into a woman and didn't like it. Elizabeth, or Beth, as everyone called her, was a rosy, smooth-haired, bright-eyed girl of 13, with a shy manner, a timid voice, and a peaceful expression which was seldom disturbed. Her father called her Little Tranquillity, and the name suited her excellently, for she seemed to live in a happy world of her own, only venturing out to meet the few whom she trusted and loved. Amy, though the youngest, was a most important person, in her own opinion at least. A regular snow maiden with blue eyes and yellow hair curling on her shoulders, pale and slender, and always carrying herself like a young lady mindful of her manners. Meg, Jo, Beth and Amy were raised by their beloved mother Mamie, while their father fought in the army during the American Civil War. They were quite worried about their father's destiny. In the novel, they go through many fortunate and unfortunate events on their journey to becoming mature ladies. If you want to find out more about our little women, I recommend you to read this novel. The English version of this book is waiting for you at American Corner Zagreb. Our lovely Marina Lončar will be pleased to help you find your way around the library. Enjoy your reading and do come back to us and share your thoughts on this amazing piece of literature. I hope that you enjoyed our little book journey. Until the next time, goodbye and keep on reading.